particular customer for specific tariff structure. So that is what we have done. So let us take up today's example. Today's example is also in similar line. Okay, so I am starting Jupyter. So every time I'll write this command, you should also familiar with these commands. Okay, once you install Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook, so if you type Jupyter Lab in command prompt, okay, so it will start a server, okay, local server. So local Jupyter Lab, you can see. Today I'll take up one more problem. So that problem is similar to the previous day's problem. Say previous day we had a power values, we calculated the energy bill. Okay. So now today I'll try to demonstrate some plottings. Okay, it is very important, when if you are a data analyst or if you want to do some analysis, so plotting is very much required. Okay, so for every kind of problem, we have to use plots. Say, for example, if you consider, if you are doing some, AC analysis, voltage waveform you need to plot, current waveform you need to plot, power waveform you need to plot. Okay, so some if you are using power electronic devices, you may have to plot the characteristics. So it is very important whenever you think of any problem in engineering. So the plotting is essential. Plotting is essential. So we have to use today. We will be learning how to do plotting. Okay. So how to create some graph using some dependent and independent variables. So that is one objective, and also simultaneously we will learn some more for loops, and also we learn one data type called dictionary. Okay, so we'll learn dictionary data type, and we'll for loop, and also we'll learn how to do plot. Okay, so these are the objective of today's class. So now before that, okay, I just want to give one activity for you. Okay, so you see, go to W3 School, or any document you take. Okay, so any document you take, go to this particular website. So here you can learn many what is the platforms. So am I audible to you? Can you say yes in the chat box if you can? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. I don't know, that bandwidth is very less today. So what you can see here, in this particular w3schools.com, you have a tutorial, Python tutorial, basics. Now what it hardly takes some 2 hours to learn. So they have given some demonstration. Okay, and yeah, so you can see, you can go to tutorials there. Learn Python is there. If you select learn Python, so you can see a lot of options here. So introduction, okay, and you can see variable, data type, number, and numbers, casting, strings, boolean, operators, list, tuples, sets, dictionaries, okay, if else statements, while loop, for loop, functions, okay, inline function, lambda, array, all those things are there. At least you just click on any item. Okay, any item, say for example list, you click on list, and they will give complete explanation. Okay, so and also they will give a demo program. So click on that particular demo program, read the theory. Okay, read the theory, and simultaneously open that particular simulator, online simulator, and try to understand. Even you can change some parameter in that particular program, and you can rerun. In that way, try to learn all these basic things, and just get some confidence. So once after learning this only, whatever I am telling, you can follow. So that's why this activity is very important. The problem with us is I can't teach all these things, every data type with some demonstration. If I start teaching that one, that will become the entire course. So we may have to spend our entire time in that particular things. Because if you see our syllabus, we have to cover a lot of things, like, we have to cover a lot of advanced things, cloud computing, IoT, machine learning. Okay, so advanced mathematic libraries, so many things, web application, mobile application. You see, so many advanced libraries are there. So our focus is to learn all those things. So that's why, if you cooperate and if you learn all these things, all these basics from the W3 schools, that will definitely, uh, uh, helps you to understand this Python very well. Okay, and also in very good number of videos are available in net. But I feel if you go through this particular tutorial for 1 or 2 hours, then I think you can understand the basic, because you may be having C++ or Java or C, some conceptual concepts, theories, like what is data type, everything here also same thing. Okay, so what is integer data type? It is, well known. What is string data type? It is also known. But how to use, how they are using? Okay, just try to simulate that kind of, primitive statements and try to learn that one. So you will get how to use all those things. Okay, so some important things I'll take up. Okay, with respect to the application specific, I'll take up and I'll explain there itself. But mine is something like kind of, randomly I take some basics in Python. But if you go through this particular thing sequentially, you can learn. So some grip you will get. So anyway, if required for, if you required, I can make some offline videos and I can send you. But definitely it will not be there in synchronous teaching. So will that be fine? Everybody understood? So somewhere you have to go through some basics of Python. So this is the best. I already told, it hardly takes some 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. You just have to spend, okay, and just have some grip. Then whatever we learn, it won't look like some, complex. It will look like a simple thing. I think some people, those who have experience in Python, they can agree with my point. Or some people can share. Is that the right, way of learning Python? Comments on that?
Sir, can you repeat yourself once? The internet issue is happening over here.
Yeah, please. I'll send you this record, so you can watch this video. I'll send you this recording. I'm recording the video. I'll upload in Moodle. You can see. Okay. So what I'm telling, simply you just have to go through this particular W3 schools website, and you have to go through this, basics of Python. Okay, and it takes some 3 hours to learn. Okay, just equip yourself in all these items. Okay, then you can learn better. See, ultimately, no, after this course, you should be in a position to take up any project in Python. Okay, so that is the broader objective of this particular things. So just learning basic in conventional style will never be useful. So that's why we are using this, pedagogy. And also, I want to say one thing. We are using something called Capstone project. It is like a course project, and it is like a mini project for this particular course. It will be considered, say for example, this Capstone project is divided into 5 parts. After completion of every unit, you have to complete one part. So already one part is published in the Moodle, where you just have to give the description of your project. So stage by stage, you have to complete that particular Capstone project. At the end of the 5th unit, you have to submit the final one. But you cannot do this Capstone project at the end. So in a discrete, as a discrete part, you have to execute this particular project. So this, I'm calling this as a Capstone project. So it is left to you. You just select some significant project, mini project. Okay, so if the project is no worthy, or it has some the application and all those things. Okay, then I can consider, and your score will increase if you take up a very good project. If you take simple project, your score will not be that great. So just keep in mind, and as early as possible, select one project and try to divide that project into 5 parts. So try to justify most of the component what is there in your syllabus is used in that particular capstone project. So that is the requirement of this particular capstone project. If you need any clarification on this capstone project, you can post it in the forum. I'll answer. Fine. Any clarification on the capstone project?
No clarification.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Must be individual or group, sir.
It is an individual project. It is individual project.
Okay.
It is individual. I'm just following the learning plan of some, you might have undergone some MOOC courses or something like that. So what other good universities have the course structure or the assessment plan, the same kind of assessment plan I am using. So that, let us inline to the best practice. So somebody asked, self-practice. Yes, of course, you just have to practice. Ashwin said, self-practice is important. Almost 10 to 15 languages without anybody's help. So you just have to learn by yourself. That is what I told in the first class itself. You have to practice all. If you don't practice, you never become expert. Okay. By undergoing this course, you can't say I learned Python. That is correct, Ashwin. Yeah. So I will start today's class. I am just starting the Jupyter. I started the Jupyter. I'm just getting inside the folder. Then I'm just starting my program. Now you see, yesterday we learned about the list. Okay. So what is list? List maybe power. List maybe the current value. Okay. So anything. So I'm just considering the power. Power, say 24 watts, okay, and 48 watts, and something 100 watts, okay, 500 watts for say some heater, and some 60 watts for some fan. So this is the power consumption of that one a customer. Then I want to plot this one. I want to plot this particular curve. So line graph I need to plot. For how you have to use line graph? So you have to use something called matplotlib. Okay. So you have to import, okay, matplotlib library. So if matplotlib library is not present in your machine, okay, if matplotlib library is basically external library. So if that is not present in your machine, then you have to use this particular command. Install matplotlib, okay, .py plot. So if you just type how to install, okay, matplotlib in Google, you will get the direct first link itself will be the Python matplotlib installation code. Now you can see you just have to pip in matplotlib, you have to run. So once after installing that one, so you should be in a position to use this particular command. So which command? Import matplotlib, okay, pyplot. So this is the class name. I'm just creating instant of that particular class. So as something say p, or some other thing I'll give. Say I'm giving that variable as graph. Now this is my power. If I want to plot the line graph, then what you have to use? You have to. That's all. Okay, instant name, then plot. Then you just have to give the variable which you want to plot. Okay. So can anybody, everybody see this particular screen? I just you know uh, created a line graph. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody have some queries? You can. Okay. So now additional things what you can do in this particular graph. Say for example, you can give X label, Y label, title, and all those things. So how to give that one? So you just have to use the object name dot X label. Okay, like how you used in the MATLAB X label, and you can give the X label is basically say time instant. Okay, time, and in the similar way, graph Y label, Y label, Y label is basically power, power in watts. Okay. Similarly, you can give the title for this particular line graph using this particular command title. Then, so this is basically load curve. Okay. So load curve. So when you run this particular program, see how few things are reflecting in the graph. So X axis, Y axis, everything came in. So this is how you can plot the graph. Assume that these values are discrete in nature. So everybody, I don't want a line and I don't want any slope. I just want bar graph. So because my power consumption is fixed. In that particular case, instead of using this particular, type of graph plot, you can use something called bar graph. You just replace that with bar, then it will give you the bar graph. Okay, so bar graph require the, so the x parameters also. So along with the y. So I'm just giving okay, something like range of 5, range of 5. So this is the bar graph, how you can create. So any clarification you required on this particular type? So bar graph or range graph? Yeah.
Sir, this graph dot plot for a command you're giving, is it executing after all those commands, X level, Y level? Or is it executing after executing all those commands in the graph?
Yeah. Very good. Okay. So how you have to understand this one? So you're plotting a graph, then you are giving X label and Y label, correct?
Yes, sir.
What happens if you provide at the beginning, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it is basically object. Okay. It is basically object. It is nothing to do, are you giving before or after? So X label, Y label, and title bar, these are all the functions present in that particular class. So when you define, that doesn't matter. Graph is just an object. Graph is just an object. That object is basically the graph is basically the object of the matplotlib library. So in that sense, it doesn't matter when you define the object parameters, member functions, member data members or member function. When you define, it doesn't matter. Okay, so the only thing is, if you just give graph dot, if you delete this one, if you delete this particular thing, still graph is there. Okay, still graph is there. X label, Y label, everything will come. But only one particular function is not executed. That's all. You got some idea?
Yes, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it is just object of a class. It doesn't matter when you create, when you assign or when you modify that particular variable. Yeah, any clarification, any other clarification? Great. So now what I'll do, I'll take up next example. The next example again, learning plot, and also, learning about some for loop. Here, one new data type I'll introduce. That data type is basically called dictionary. Okay. So dictionary is basically, you have to define like this. So customer is basically a dictionary. Always the dictionary as key value pair, key and value. So key may be, I'm just giving key as, C1. Okay. And the value as say, something like 240. Okay. So 240. Then comma next you can define the key value pairs sequentially. Okay, key value pairs sequentially. So something here I'm giving 300. Now this is basically called as a dictionary. Dictionary is basically the data type which embeds key value pairs. So you may be having n number of key value pairs. All those things will come sequentially. So that is basically dictionary. And also it looks like something called JSON file. Okay. So JSON file, always, JSON file also, the syntax or the format of the JSON file is also like key and value. So key value pair will constitute the variable called dictionary. So you can also search something called JSON. Because that is very important in computer science. JSON is the kind of data format which is always used to connect between two entities in a computer. If anything's coming from Google to your computer, it is coming as a JSON data. And if you are sending anything to Google, then it is going as a JSON data. So always the travel between any two parts or any two entities will happen using JSON format. I'll just show you, and I'll just come back to this. Okay. JSON sample or JSON example, I'll just show you. This is how it. Okay. So this is how JSON file looks like. So key value pair always. So we'll learn this particular things later, but if you have time, just go through what is JSON file. Now your dictionary is also similar to this. I defined this particular dictionary. Okay, and in this particular dictionary, now some things we have to learn. Say for example, if I want to print only keys, okay, then what you can do? So you can use this particular way. Customer is basically the data type dot keys. Okay, dot keys. So this particular command will print the keys. What are the keys you have in this problem? C1 and C2. When you run this particular program, it should print keys. Okay, and now my objective is I have say 10 customer. For all those 10 customers, I have to generate a bill. So if you are sitting in the utility center and 10 customers are there, and that 10 customers you are keeping in the dictionary, and using that particular dictionary, you are calculating all the bill amount, and then you are updating your database. So if you want to do this particular task, then you have to use dictionary. So that's why I'm using dictionary here. So the difference between your list and dictionary, anyway, list is kind of single dimensional, and here you have a key value pair. Okay, so that is the only difference between your list and the dictionary. Say for example, ultimately when I try to print keys is also something like a single dimension array, but it's a dictionary keys. So if you want to convert, if you want to convert this particular keys into a list array, single dimensional array, you can use a function called list. So list followed by, so any other type of data type like list, tuple, or anything, you can use this particular function to cast the dictionary keys into list variable. Okay, so something is missing. Yeah, one bracket is missing. Can you see here? Earlier it was a dictionary key. Now it is just the list. Similarly, you can, if you want to access the values, if you want to access the values of the dictionary, then you can use something called values. Okay, so object name dot values function will print the values present in that particular dictionary variable. Can you see here? Both the things I printed. Okay, C1 is basically the keys, and the next thing what I'm printing is list of all the say the number of units, the power consumption are the energy units. Okay, units of energy what they have consumed. You can assume like that, customer one and customer two. Now, say for example, yesterday we did the that particular problem, calculation of energy. The same thing I'll use here also. So last time I calculated energy, I'm assuming energy is calculated here. So using this particular energy, I'm using tariff structure to calculate the bill amount. Okay, so to calculate the bill amount. So now iteratively have to access every person and have to calculate the energy bill. Iteratively have to access every person and have to calculate energy bill. Now I'll just take the what is that? I already written a program, but I just want to demonstrate in front of you. So I'll use for loop. Loop inside that particular for loop. So now here, how you are talking. So when you write this code for T comma P in customer items, what happens? Items is basically value pairs. Okay, keys is just keys and values are just values. This is basically it separates by comma. Now you can see here customer dot items reading both, be reading both key and value. Now what is happening? Key value will come to the variable t, and the value will come to the variable p. Now here in our case, first variable is customer and the second variable the energy unit EU. Now the energy units will come to EU variable, okay, iteratively, and the customer key will be stored in the customer. Now inside this for loop, what I have to use? My intention is to calculate the energy bill. So we already used that particular problem. Okay, so yesterday we calculated that same block. I'll copy same tariff structure. I'm using. Okay, same tariff structure I'm using. You can see. So here, what is the unit? Energy unit is basically EU. I'm just replacing that particular value with EU. Okay, and also you see, bill is not a single variable now. Okay, so now number of bills you will get. So you won't get only one bill. Instead, you will get n number of bills. So to accommodate that one, you just have to give an index for that particular bill. So like how you do in C, C++ or any other programming language. Similarly, you just have to give the index for that particular bill. Say here the index is basically you have to use some index. So I am defining something like I is equal to 0. I is equal to 0. So here I am defining I, and at every iteration inside the for loop, I am incrementing the Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen? Was there any break? Was there any break?
Yes, sir. Small break was there, sir.
But you can follow this program, right?
Yes, sir. Now we can follow now.
Okay, so we have a dictionary variable. Inside the dictionary variable, we have the units, energy units. Using that energy units, we are calculating energy bill. So for that, we have used for loop. Okay, inside a for loop, we are calculating energy bill. Okay, so using the same tariff structure what we used in the last class. Now, after executing this particular for loop, what we can expect? Now I am coming out of the for loop. Now, what I can expect? I can expect the bill value for every customer. Now, how to see the bill value for every customer? See, it is stored in the variable, the list variable called bill. Okay, so you can simply type print bill. Okay, print bill. This will print the bill for all the customer. Now it is saying customer is not defined. Okay, now actually it is customers. Okay, so customers. Okay, energy U is not defined. Somewhere I used okay EU and bill is not defined. Okay, so now the bill is basically list. So I am just defining bill is equal to the list. Okay, so zeros. Okay, so now only two times it is iterating. Yeah, only two values are there, na? Okay, only two values are there. Okay, so that's why. Can you see here the output of this particular program? You can see for C1 customer, he consumed 240 units. If you use the tariff structure, 3 rupees, 5 rupees, and 8 rupees tariff, block rate tariff, then he has to pay 1560 rupees. The other person is used 300 units, he has to pay 2040 rupees. So that is the output of this particular program. Just for the visualization purpose, again, if you want to, plot, using say matplotlib, then definitely you can do. So how you have to do? So same how I explained. So it should not be just be take care about that particular indent. So graph dot. Okay, so I'll just use bar graph range of, see how many values the length of bill or length of customers. So length of customer keys would be the length of customer keys. This list is there, na? So even if you use the length of that customer key is basically the x-axis. The y-axis is just the bill. Okay, bill. When you run this particular code, let us see how it print. The name ist. What is this? L is missed. Okay, so now see. So when I see this one, I can clearly see two customers. First customer is 1500 and second customer somewhere around 2000 rupees bill. Okay, so you can print or no, actually it will be pushed to the database ideally, but I'm just demonstrating. If some officer says they just write a program to print the paragraph of all the customers bill, then you just have to write this particular program. So that is how you can do. But similarly, how we did X label, Y label, you can also give here. So somewhere I used in the previous program. Okay. Okay, you can use the same thing, X label, Y label, and all those things. So in my case, the object name is graph. So I'm using this. So you can print. Now it is not a load curve. Okay. So it's a customer bill. Okay. So I'm not printing energy. I'm just printing the bill. Okay, I'm just printing the bill. So now you can see here. So this is how you can print. X-axis is not customized. Okay, so two bills I just demonstrated. Now I'll just show you one program what I have written. Okay, same code with three customer. I calculated the energy bill, same program, but the only thing is I customized the x-axis because in our case, okay, you can see x-axis is printing some scale value. So if I don't want to print the scale value, what you can do, you can simply customize your x-axis. So it is basically customized using the set xticks and set text label. So when you customize that one, you will get this kind of graph. Say energy and bill, you can merge together in a bar graph. So you can create a cluster of every customer's parameters. So energy and bill both it is displaying here. Okay, in this way also you can generate a graph. Okay, so now what are the things we learned in this particular class? So we learned about the dictionary variable. Okay, and we learnt about how to access that particular dictionary variable, and also we learnt about how to cast that dictionary variable to list, and also we understood some more things about for loop. Okay, and most importantly, what we learnt about how to generate a graph, line graph or bar graph. In fact, hundreds of types of graphs are there, so we should be in a position to execute and understand and change this particular object to generate that kind of graph. So we have to learn many, but for time being we should know line graph as well as bar graph. There is one question from Sayak. Variables you can change at any.
So we can't hear you.
Am I audible now, Sayak? Hello, am I audible, Sayak?
Yes, sir. Now you're audible, sir.
So when my voice broke, yeah. Jnanadhar, could you please tell me when you heard me?
Yes, sir. When you were answering his doubt, it got cut through.
Yes, yes. Okay. Very simple, Sayak. It is just the variable. Okay. So you can modify the keys as well as the values. So it is kind of variable. Whereas you have one more variable called tuple, that is a mutable variable. So there we cannot edit. So the list variable and dictionary variable you can edit. So thank you. Yeah, if you don't have any question, you can take off. But I took some more time because I wanted to explain Capstone project as well as a few things. So you can take a leave from this particular meeting. You can join next class. If you have any clarification, you can stay back.